Welcome to Shadows of Dawn.
Hey, welcome guys. So, welcome to Shadows of Dawn, the Second Age, right? I'm really excited about this campaign. I have two groups that are going to be running in the same world, taking place about 3 years later, or maybe 3 to 6 years later than the first age took place. But for today, I'm going to show you, so the players will have already run through this module by the time I post this, but I'm going to show you how I build with Dwarven Forge terrain, minis, and maps. And just as a part of a series, this way DMs who are trying to build terrain, tips, tricks, how to do it. So let's just go ahead and jump in. So first thing, I'll show you the map and kind of show you what's going on. All right, so this is the map, episode 1. They're at a festival of sorrow. There's going to be some things that happen, and they'll eventually have to go check out a cave. This is during the festival. So this is kind of how the players are going to come together. This will be their first mission, like, all together. So they're going to go in this cave. And in this cave, I have like a portal that's going to be there, and this portal has let something in that's come from somewhere else, and it's really deep mystery. You have to watch the episode to check it out, right? But I just did a real quick map, just on some free online software. And this is the map I'm going to be working with. It's basically a cave. It's down in kind of a cavern, or basically like a cavern. And they'll find a cave and they'll go in and they're going to experience some stuff. So I'll have the map out on the table and I'll basically talk as I build along. So check it out. Let's go ahead and switch over to the building table and let me get around there, and we'll just start building. So, as I come over to the building side, yep, how's everybody? So I use Dwarven Forge terrain. I love Dwarven Forge. Dwarven Forge is really awesome. They make some really good stuff, as you can see. This is some of the old school Dwarven Forge, which is it's not the Dwarvenite that they make now, but we have some of the old pieces. And I kind of have the map that I'm working with. And it's pretty simple. I have like a little cave entrance over here, which is what this is going to be. So we're basically, with maps and caves, we're just going to kind of start building. So we'll kind of square it up on our table. Looks like, according to the map, I need to kind of be in the center of my table. So we'll square it up over there. And the one thing I always tell DMs is don't get too lost in the minuscule details of the squares. Because you'll almost never, especially with caves, you'll almost never have it line up perfectly. So the next thing is we're just going to start building out here room 1. So I got some terrain that's over here off camera. Let me see if I can slide some of it in here so I can reach it easy. And we're going to start with some of these pieces that are basically kind of curved pieces. So we have some curved pieces, and then we have some flat, like straight wall pieces that we're going to use. So we kind of want this room to come out a bit. All right, might come out once, and maybe we'll come out twice, just to kind of get that little, as it kind of arches higher. Shoot, might even need a third one. This is a pretty big room. So if we're kind of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, a little even farther than we want. So maybe we'll have a smaller piece. And over here I have some of the Dwarvenite terrains. So these are the Dwarvenites that you got from the Kickstarter. So these are pretty cool. So we'll just kind of come up one more out there on the arch. And then it looks like we have kind of a little sag right here. So that doesn't look too deep, so maybe I'll just use the dwarvenite for that one as well. And I'm over here digging in my dwarvenite drawer, which I kind of have set off to the side. A little bit off camera. Alright. And one of the things we start to notice is we kind of start building in floors. And we'll probably need to make it a little wider. Or, actually, let's just tighten it up. There we go. That works. Pretty easy. So let's just kind of round this off. Why don't we go with a straight piece here. Round it back up into a room. Just kind of fill in a little bit of the ground. And then the next thing we probably want to do is kind of do this little rounded knob here. This little rounded knob part of the room. So you do that one of two ways. Sometimes you can put these in backwards, right? One way is to use flat terrain first. So if we get a whole bunch of the little dwarvenite square pieces, like these guys, you can kind of lay out the inside of the pattern and then use the walls as kind of an opposite effect. So one thing with dwarvenite. So you can kind of use walls like that, right? Use the backside. So it kind of creates kind of a rounding effect. Yeah, you'll have a little gap, but you know, players usually, we can cover that up later with other things like plants or rocks, things like that. Easy to cover, easy to hide. Makes it really, really simple. Let's get a little bit more of these, right? We want to create that rounded knob area. Right, and if we're looking, that little rounded knob just kind of comes back into a larger cavern. So with this, there we go. And we're just going to start building that cavern back this direction. So these are funky walls. Kind of like these walls, but you have to be really careful how you use them. There we go. You're really good for borders like that. And then it's going to come back in, so why don't we do that. And we're going to have it where it's going to pocket back out again. We start running. There we go. One, two. No, I want to use this one somewhere else. We'll keep using these little round ones that we have for the little solo dwarvenites. Only thing is I just gotta kind of keep digging for them since I have them all in one huge drawer. Not big a deal. When we bought these, we bought absolute ton. So I forget exactly how many sets it was, but it was ridiculous. Again, with terrain, don't get lost in the absolute detail square count, because honestly, unless your players have read the entire module, they're not going to know the difference. And since this one's a homebrew, they really won't know the difference. There's basically no way. So here, we're just kind of making this little section down here, which I have a section 2. This is a little pocket area. And now we're going to kind of come back up this way. I'm going to come back up this way in order to line up with this wall set, right? So these, you can kind of use this weird piece, which I kind of like. It's kind of a dented in piece to kind of help. Use rounded ones a lot. Rounded ones kind of help you give the little diagonal part to it. And so we'll need a few of those. And ultimately, we'll be using a lot of these. So when I say you need a lot, I absolutely mean you need tons. Tons and tons. I mean, obviously, if you're drawing this out, you know, that's, you're just using pen and paper or battle mat. But this tutorial is definitely more for the builders who are building. I just kind of want to see how some, I don't want to be too bold and say the pros do it, but people have been doing it a while, so just kind of wanted to share. That's the whole purpose of this video, is to share tips, tricks. People are often like, hey man, that was really awesome, how'd you build it? Well, now I'm going to show you. Makes it really neat. Let's see, so this one has to kind of come back in here. It looks like I probably made it a little too big, which is fine. I'll just shorten it by 1. And that way I'm mostly kind of go vertical up through here. Let's mix in a little terrain. Let's do a little offset. Because we're kind of showing a little offset right there. And if you jut out, you have to kind of jet back in at a point, so I'll need another curved one to kind of bring it back over. And that's fine. Every trip over to the drawer, and just bring a handful, because you never know. There's all sorts of different types of terrain that they make for this. And I'm probably a little high. Let me just back this whole thing down by 1. In fact, I'm going to bring it in even tighter. There we go. I'm just going to bring that curve in a little sooner than expected. And then we're going to continue to go up here because we kind of want to make this little point over here. In order to do that, we're going to need a back wall opening. Actually, just use that. It's a nice piece. So this is where they're going to flow through. Some back walls. Another back wall. And on the inside, we can do it like that. There we go. Kind of bottlenecks it off really nice. So, kind of get a good idea of what we're looking like. You can kind of see the map. We're going to have to build a little structure here, which is fine. We'll all do that like post effects. All right, so let's go ahead and start flattening some of this out with some of the ground. One of these little ground pieces. Get these in here. There we go. Lots more little ground. Okay. Now, some of the other cool things that we have is we have some unstable ground pieces that Dwarven Forge gives you, which are pretty cool if you can find them. So these unstable pieces, they kind of look like this, right? Give a little obstacle into your cave, make you have to kind of move around, and we're going to build on that as well. So we're not just leaving that there. I mean, as we get in here and we start actually adding a lot of little extras, let's see, we'll just replace certain pieces with some of these obstacles. Let's put one right in here. Let's turn around that way. And let's put another one. Let's put another one over here. And these aren't all the obstacles you can play with, because we actually have other terrain that can go on top of these, which is more like scatter terrain instead of actual physical pieces. In fact, these little wall pieces right here are kind of like obstacles too. So you kind of intersperse those whenever you want to make it a little more jagged. Not too much, because again, I have some stalagmites. Always on the ground. Mites are on the ground. That we can add in later as well. Let's keep fleshing out our ground. Let's finish this little section down here. Get this one out of the way. There we go. A few more. And I actually believe I'm going to pick up some of the door and porch terrain that is some of the older stuff. They have some big ground panels. So if you got the early stuff, they have some big 4x4 you can use to take up a whole lot. That way you're not having to always marry up all these little pieces. Kind of breaks it up too, makes it look a little different, which is cool. There we go. Save some little pieces for some of this little more detailed stuff that we gotta fill in. All right, cool. All right, so let's see. One thing we had right here. So we had this obstacle, right? Like a column or something, right? You don't have to get stuck on a column. In fact, I have a piece of scatter terrain that works perfect. That guy right there, right? Can't walk on it. In fact, I just want to turn this guy so this little bump is out of the way. Just want it to be more. Right there, perfect. So, yep. So let's go ahead and come around here and try to finish up that backside. Let's see, get my arm in the way. Sorry about that. Alright, so it's not necessarily going to widen at the moment. Why don't we go, we'll keep it going straight just for a little bit. Maybe another little straight corridor. Won't hurt anything. One more. There we go. Let's do that. And well, it's breaking away pretty sharp. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and have it break away right there. And the outside breaks with it. So the outside starts coming down. That's a good place to put that one. It's pretty large. Fill some of that in. There we go. Like little blocks. Just little blocks. Like the Bob Ross and Dwarven Forge. Happy little terrain. Cool. Alright, let's see. I want to come down a bit. We're going to work on this little part right here. So maybe one or two. Let's do that. And that just kind of tapers in a bit. I'll use one of these funny pieces. There we go. And then we can use that piece. Stick that there. Stick another one there. There we go. Put that there. Really tighten it up. Again, they don't know. Not really going to see it. All right, but this does kind of curve into a room, so why don't we use this as a choke piece, and then that way we can just open it up right there, and this part can come down one and act as a turn. All right, kind of see where we're going with this. So we're just kind of matching this little choke area. Oh, yeah, I can do that. There we go. One of the things I always keep an eye on with the Dwarven Forge, if you get off center of a piece to a piece, you may end up with a problem later. So just as a builder, you always want to try to stay very, I say, perpendicular, very and parallel at the same time. Very right on as far as your square counts. Because if you get off, unless you have odd number pieces, like a 3x3 or 1x2 or something like that, you can kind of get stuck. So now I want to break it in and break it out. So let's see, we have a good piece right there to break out. And for breaking it down, let's see, we have a piece here because we want to make this little corridor, which will be very easy to make. And if we don't want it too wide, since this corridor exists kind of on its own, it'll be very easy to kind of continue down with just him. So we're going to build this piece over here that kind of goes up and away. This piece up here. So we're going to build that. Let's go get some floors. And let's see. It's not super wide. How wide are we talking? Yeah, I can use that. It's got a little curve in. That's got a little curve in. That doesn't bother me any. But I do think I am going to have to make it narrower. Or, actually, I just had a brilliant idea while I was talking through that. I do have an end cap piece, like a dead end. Why don't we try to use that? Dead end pieces are always good. Yeah. That's what we're going to work towards. I'm going to work towards that. And in order to achieve that, we'll just need a couple of more of these in order to line up that dead end piece. Boom. Perfect. And then really, it's just a straight wall down that side until we curve it back. Let's go ahead and add the one with the little rugged terrain. Whatever you want to call those, the fungi fountains. Let's add one of those in there. Curve pieces. Corner, corner, corner. More corners. There we go. And now, yeah. Boom. Nice. And then now we're really just looking to do maybe a couple of replacement pieces. Let's take this guy out and put one of these mixed terrain pieces in there. Well, not necessarily difficult terrain, although they could go over them if they wanted to. We'll just call it obstacle terrain. There we go. One there. All right, make sure everybody's kind of squared up. All right, tight. Looks good. All right. Pull this back. So now we're looking at that. This is like number 3 here. It's kind of hard to see the number, but it's room 3. And yeah, kind of have like an up, little down. It's kind of coming down to a corridor. All right, let's build this last little part. Let's do it. All right, so one of the things I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only 5 squares long. So it actually looks longer on the paper than it really is. But I have this nice little piece right here. And I'm going to use this for kind of part of that last piece. To kind of funnel them into more of a narrow room. Heck, that's so small. There we go. I'm going to use that. There we go. So that funnels them down nice into a very small area. And then I kind of have this last room here. This number 4 room. So let's build that out. And since I still have one of these rounded guys, let's have him kind of down over here. He'll be that back corner, if you will. So let me get the camera to zoom in here and show this. Almost there. So kind of maybe right in there. We have to move it just a little bit. It breaks out just a little bit. The other side, not so much. I am going to need a round piece though. Started. And really want one of those weird, odd side pieces. See if I can find one. Those little junction pieces. Ah, found one. Found one. These are the pieces, these really strange kind of side pieces. Because I want to come down and I want to come out just a bit. All right. Shoot, now that I'm looking at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5 links. Actually, we're going to shorten this whole thing. In fact, we're going to twist it around. That'll probably make it even easier to come through this. So now what we're really talking about. There we go. We can kind of get that started like that. It gives this room a little bit bigger of an entrance, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. This piece, I want it to come in because I want it to kind of slope like that. And I'll just use another curved piece like that. And maybe one more curved piece. Gotta go get a curved piece. So I actually didn't lay all this out on purpose. I wanted you guys to actually see, you know, when you're working through it, you don't have every piece laid out already. This is kind of what, this is normal. Because none of us are perfect. There we go. Now we kind of make that little thing here in the back. And now we just kind of want to close it up. So we'll start with a round piece. And then we'll have the wall. And look, we closed it up. I'm pretty darn happy with that. Came out pretty easy. Get that out of the way. I'll put that out of the way. We're gonna need a lot of these. Let's see, I don't have a lot of other 4 pieces that I can replace, but that's okay. Got a scatter terrain there. And I just need to fill in the floor. And all these little guys can go back in the drawer. Kind of a neat freak like that. If I'm not using it, get them out of the way. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. And so you can kind of see the whole thing. There's the whole thing built, kind of according to the map. Cool. Now it's kind of the fun part. Let's see where to start. Now I got the map. Got that whole thing. I'll put that out of the way. Let me get some of these terrains out of the way. And now we'll kind of get to, I mean, this is cool. I always like building stuff. Never a problem. But now we'll get to kind of some of the fun, cool stuff. So I have a box of scatter terrain, and this is great stuff. It's got rocks. We got stalagmites. We got webs. All sorts of little scattered bric-a-brac. I don't even know what to call some of these little objects, but you hear me rummaging around my drawer. But these are all the cool little knickknacks, right? So pretty simple. You just kind of want to break it up to make it more like a cave. But you don't want to break it up too big. I love these. These kind of hang in between. Just kind of give it a little something. So over here, where we had that kind of break in the wall. So kind of right here, we have these little gaps. That's where I'm pointing. Use these. Just set those right in there. Cover the gaps with just some terrain. There we go. That way Players, because you know players are going to be like, is there something right there? Because, you know, when you have terrain, they start to pick it apart. We'll put something there. And let's see, let's put something there. Also kind of breaks up vision a little bit, you know. Something back there. And let's see, let's kind of come to the back over here. We got these little bitty ones. Little bloops. And we have a big one. We'll put that somewhere. Let's just put it over there. That way, there's something back over there in that corner. And they're not too caught up on whatever it is. I can make them crawl through that. That would be cool. It's like, yeah, it's really low, so you have to kind of crawl through it. Let's see. Another piece over here. Let's just kind of decorate the back of this cavern up a little bit. There we go. Something over there. And then obviously, let's put some webs in the caverns so that they always freak out and think, you know, there's got to be a spider if there's a web. I mean, there probably is, right? And then these are just raised and lower terrain, right? So if they want to go over it, maybe they have to make an athletics check. Or they could drop prone behind it. And, yeah, just a little different level. And let's save that. Maybe we'll use that later. All right, cool. So once you kind of got that set, you know, now the whole idea is to go ahead and put the monsters in, treasures, things like that. So you have your module at hand, which this whole module is written on one piece of paper. Just one piece of paper. That's pretty much all I need. And, you know, the first room, we're going to have a couple skeletons. So what I might do, instead of using the skeleton minis, which I'll maybe put here and I'll put here, is I'm going to switch them out. And what I have is I have some piles of bones, which are super cool and handy. If I can remember, if I can remember where I put them. It's always super cool and handy if you can remember where you put them. Barrels, boxes. Ah, here we go. Boxes and bones. Boxes and bones. So, there we go. Little pile of skulls. So, out of this little pile of skulls is where a skeleton will pop. And out of this other little pile of skulls, there's another skeleton that will pop. And that way, they can go and check them out. And when they check them out, I'll pop skeletons. They get close. And let's go ahead and let's just put a crate in here. Kind of like, there you go. What's this crate sitting over here for? These are kind of caverns that were long abandoned. Or here we go. How about an empty chest? And a crate. Let's just put them both there. What's that doing there? Who knows? But they got to go check it out. And when they go check it out, boop, I'll pop skeletons. Second room. The second room is our room down here. So this room has sturges. So it's pretty simple. So we just kind of put sturges. I'm just going to scatter them around the room. Put them back. Maybe their nest is back over here. And I have a little bit of a treasure. So maybe what we have back here. It already says it. I have a skeleton laying back there. So I have some of these like dead body minis. They're just a little body laying on the ground. So I'll put him way back here. And that's where the skeleton is. And if they check it, then they will run into the sturges. And what I may do is I may take the sturges off. You know, I'm not going to leave them on here, but that's where they're going to be. I kind of set them out here just to, you know, help me get set up. Let's kind of read the setup. And let's see. Let's see, room 3. So yeah, that's all there is. So actually they'll find, if they search the skeleton, they'll actually find like one of their first, you know, kind of, it's a common magic item, but it's it's a magic item. It'll be like their very first one. Let's see. So one of the other things I use, so I use herbalism a lot, plant nature, and I can use one of these plants that I have as, it's called an everdusk plant, which is a plant that they can use to make something. One of them's into herbalism, which I know one of them is. If they're really careful, they'll spot it. So if they spot that, good for them. All right, room 3. So they're going to trek through here. This is kind of a nothing room. You don't want to always have stuff in every single room. And room 3 over here, I have a beetle swarm. And the chamber is dark. Let's see, some bioluminescent plant life that decorate this chamber. Well, I didn't put a lot of plants in there. It's always good you go back and read it, so you remember what to do. So let's fill this guy up with some plants. There we go. Got some plants. So this one will be super planty. I'm not sure if that's a word, but it is now. Like lots of plants back in this little chamber. Make it very, very weird for them. They're like, why are all these plants here? Let's put this big guy in the back. Put the big guy in the back. That way I don't get too concerned about everything that's back there. There we go. Lots of bioluminescent plants. And yeah, so here's a little swarm of beetles. The beetle swarm will come out and attack them. And that's what we got there. Super simple. Caves are easy, so that you don't have to have a whole lot of decorations and things. Okay, room 4. Our last guy over here. Kind of a climactic room. All right, narrow tunnel, dark chamber. There is a light coming from the rounded chamber. What catches your eye is a magic portal. So I happen to have a magic portal. Yay. That's going to be over here in the back. And we put it a little closer. Put that guy there. And for the fun of it, let's add a plant. We didn't add any plants over here. There we go. Make sure these guys have a plant. And we have some rock debris. We don't really use a lot. Let's just put it over in the back. It's more flavor. It's not really going to do much. So here, what catches their eye is this. This will be a pretty good fight. When they come up, I got a ghoul. There's kind of a ghoul that's been had to have eaten on something, perhaps. So let's put some bones like way over here. So when it doesn't pop into a skeleton, they'll be like super cautious. Or let's put the bones way back over here. And let's flip this around. Maybe there. Let's put the portal over here. The ghoul can kind of be hiding behind the little step, because he's eating on his bones and that's where he likes to be. Cool. And that's pretty much it. Now I kind of got it all laid out. So easy peasy. One of the things you can do is I have like a little entrance. Like I said, we have these little entrance things. So I can just take one of these guys and kind of over here, just put it on the very front. That's not working too good. Let's see, I have a different one. Actually, I do have an entire like cavern entrance. Got one of these. You want to make it really cool? You can just stick that guy on the front. It looks more like a temple, not really a cave. I don't like that. The whole idea is to make this one look like a cave. But you can do this. This'll do it. So we just kind of put some exterior walls that face outward, right? So these don't really do anything. And I kind of have this wide piece. I can just kind of hang in there, or I can just sit in front. That's too low. Set it above like that. That way it looks kind of more cave entrance like. So that works. That's it. So let's kind of take this all in, shall we? I'll use this camera so you can kind of see the whole thing. Kind of looking at a monitor, that's how I know where to point it. So along that with our map, got the entrance, kind of got the first room there. You know, they can come down into the second room. That's where the magic item is if they want it. Then through the little hallway, up into the third room where our beetles are, and then kind of the climactic scene, room 4 here where the ghoul is. And 6 adventurers. All this should be pretty balanced. They should be able to do it. So that's that. So we'll come back over here and just kind of summarize. So kind of go back to the module, or the map. So we did a pretty good job. Didn't take very long. So that's always a plus. Doesn't take very long if you got the tools. Again, don't get caught up in the specifics and the details of the exact, map squares, because just about any cave or cavern or whatever, most maps that are even, that are published are not perfectly built for like Dwarven Forge. So like I said, if you don't show the players the map, they're not really going to know. Even then you can say the map is a semblance of what it looks like. But that's it. Thanks for being with me for the first build setup. I'll have the second build setup too, since the 2 groups play on different weeks. Both of these will play after the groups. So the groups, you've already played through this, so now you can see how I set it up. Some of the things I told you that were there. If you didn't find them, oh well. But it was pretty easy to find. So thanks a lot, and I appreciate you guys, and you guys have a good one.